Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Quant Lab. Throughout section 3.1, we mapped the market using horizontal support and resistance lines. Mathematically, this represents static nodes where liquidity is trapped. But capital is rarely static. When massive institutional buying or selling pressure enters the market, it creates a directional velocity. To track this momentum, we must transition from static horizontal boundaries to dynamic diagonal boundaries. Today, we are mastering trendlines and channels. The concept of diagonal trendline originates from Dow theory. In the late 19th century, Charles Dow proposed that markets move in three simultaneous temporal trends. The primary movement, or the macro tide lasting years. The secondary movement, which is intermediate waves, and the daily movement, or the minor ripples. Dow originally dismissed the daily ripples as untrackable noise because he didn't have a computer. But in modern quantitative finance, we know that the market is inherently fractal. This means the exact same geometric rules that govern a 3-year primary movement apply perfectly to a daily or even a 5-minute intraday chart. When an asset trends, it oscillates, creating both a floor and a ceiling. This means there are actually 4 types of trend lines. In an uptrend, we have the primary uptrend line, or the rising support floor connecting the lows, and the secondary uptrend line, or the rising resistance ceiling connecting the highs. In a downtrend, it is flipped. The primary downtrend line is the falling resistance ceiling, and the secondary downtrend line is the falling support floor. But how do we draw this without just forcing lines onto random nodes? We use 2 strict quantitative rules. Rule 1, the 10% minimum amplitude. Look at this daily chart of ORCL. To separate a true impulsive macro trend from sideways chop, the initial wave should travel at least 10% from its origin. Using our price range tool that we discussed last time, we measure this first leg is exactly 12.05%. This validates the origin of our trend line. Rule 2 is the 3-touch geometric validation. Remember, mathematically you can draw a straight line between any 2 random points. A line drawn across 2 swing lows is just a hypothesis. To mathematically confirm that algorithms are actively defending a specific diagonal slope, you must have 3 distinct touches. On our Oracle chart, we have 3 beautiful, 1, 2, and 3. So we have 3 beautiful ascending touches validating this primary support floor. Now, let's talk about the steepness of your line. A moderate slope, roughly 45 degrees, represents healthy, sustainable institutional accumulation. A hyper steep line over 45 degrees is an unsustainable climax. But I must warn you about the massive retail trap, the screen scaling illusion. On modern digital platforms, zooming in or out dynamically stretches the axis. A 30-degree line can instantly look like a 60-degree line just by scrolling your mouse wheel. To accurately judge the true slope, you must go into your software setting and log the aspect ratio to a 1:1 price to time scale. Eventually, every trend line breaks, but because high-frequency algorithms constantly print false wicks to hunt stop losses, we need a mathematical filter to separate noise from a true breakout. We use the 3% penetration rule. We ignore intraday wicks. To officially break a trend line, the closing price or a definitive overnight gap open must pierce the line by more than 3%. If it breaks the primary support floor, the trend is officially dead. But if the price violently breaks above a secondary resistance ceiling, it signals an overbought parabolic climax. Just like horizontal lines, diagonal boundaries obey the principle of polarity. Let's look at an example. Okay, so look at this MU chart, daily K line. We have a validated primary downtrend line, a descending ceiling. Okay, so 28% downtrend, and there are like 4 confirmation. Okay. Now, in early August, the price executes a massive breakout above it. This breakout is over 3%. As we talked, we can use this price range to measure this breakout. So this one from here to the opening price right here. So it's a more 4%, greater than 3%. Okay. And when the price push back on this August 7th, what happens? Trapped sellers cover their positions, and that exact same descending resistance ceiling perfectly flips to become dynamic support. In other words, this downtrend or resistance or descending ceiling, and now it becomes a support. Okay, so let's get back to the lecture. Finally, if a trend is highly orderly, it forms a trend channel. It is critical to know that unlike a triangle, a true channel uses strictly parallel lines. And an illustrative example, I draw it here. You establish your primary trend line, like this. Then you clone that exact slope and project it parallel onto the opposite extreme peaks to form your return line. Okay, so we have parallel support and resistance lines. This tells you exactly where to buy the floor and exactly where to take profits at the sale. So you buy here and then you sell here. But there are some risks to break out from below or even break out from above. All right. Respect the diagonal geometry and never force a line that hasn't been confirmed 3 times. See you in the next session.